Hi, my name is Lisa Eagan. Thanks for joining us today. I'm the Executive Director of the North Reading Chamber of Commerce, and our program is called Shop Local. I am joined today by Andrew Schultz, a lawyer in town, and his business is Offices of Andrew J. Schultz, PC. Andrew, thank you for coming on air with me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about your business and what brought you to North Reading.
Well, I live here. I'm a resident in town. I have a law office. The home office is in North Reading, right over on Park. I have offices in Worcester and in Manchester, New Hampshire as well, but North Reading is home. And we're a neighborhood law firm. We do a lot of real estate representation, family law, personal injury, but these days a lot of real estate.
Well, how would you describe the climate in North Reading for real estate?
I think this year, and I've seen the ups and downs over the past, what we'd call the real estate downturn. This year was really the first year that things have taken off. The winter, if you remember, was horribly bad weather-wise. It's hard to buy a house when there's 3 feet of snow in the yard. But the spring market and into the summer, into the fall, I would say, and I'm just off the top of my head, I think everybody probably saw a 10% appreciation of prices this year. And I haven't been able to say that probably since '05.
That's great. And I know in North Reading, some exciting news within the school department with the 2 new schools opening up. And that probably translates very nicely into the whole community. It's great for the local businesses that affect our chamber, but also good for homeowners and just good in general to attract people to the community.
We see a lot of young couples that have kids that are moving into the town that are drawn by the schools. And when I always ask, I always try to get a feel of why people are coming here. Generally speaking, they will say, well, the schools. And the new school has been a driving force to, in my opinion, the appreciation of values and also people wanting to move to the town.
Absolutely. Well, they look great. I haven't been inside either of them yet.
They're nice.
I've heard. I know we're talking with the superintendent to maybe have a community event, perhaps on Main Street inside the high school, to showcase local services, whether it's through the town of North Reading or businesses, or maybe a combination of thereof, where you can bring people in, show them the new facility, enjoy it, and really use it as a nice way to bring the community together.
And one of the things through the Chamber of Commerce we're contemplating is having a true North Reading Town Day, which we haven't had in the past. And we're looking at different locations. One of the possible locations is Ipswich River Park. The other location is where the old high school was. That's under the wrecking ball right now, and that's what I understand is going to be green space. So that may be an option as well. But it's a little bit down the road, but it's something we would like to do to showcase our commercial businesses and give folks, a day to come out and be with their neighbors.
I agree. There's nothing better than bringing the community together, and it's a nice way to reach out, and everyone takes a break from their busy schedules and really thinks about what's great about living and working and being in North Reading.
Look at the response they had from the Food Truck Festival this summer. I mean, that was something that was put together, I believe, by some folks wanting to help the 4th of July fireworks, and they got a tremendous response. The amount of people that went to that was overwhelming, and so I think there's an appetite for town events.
I agree, and I know that the Chamber is really committed to bringing some new ones as well. One thing that we're working on right now is the annual tree lighting. It's the 10th in North Reading, and it happens right on the town common. It's on Sunday, November 29th, Thanksgiving weekend, from 2 to 4:15. We're excited, and we're trying to grow that event and bring more people out and give them a reason to come check out the great town common in North Reading. We're going to have a bounce house this year, and something that the Chamber's working on is having additional restaurants come. So we've always had the Horseshoe, which is wonderful, but make it a little more of like, a flavor of North Reading, where we'll have some additional restaurants giving out samples, perhaps pizza, some sweets, cocoa, and the like. So we're excited about that. We'll also have the storybook walk that happens at Flint Library during that time, where kids can go in and warm up and check out what they're doing in there. And a lot of local businesses will also be showcased. Cervasi's will have a karate demonstration, and several of the dance schools will have performances. And then we're working now with, I think, the high school and middle school choruses will also perform. So it's going to be a really nice a nice afternoon to come down, enjoy, have a snack, listen to some music, enjoy the bounce house and some cocoa, and then watch the lights go up.
And it's a great family event. We've done it a number of times, and good thing for all the football fans this year is the Patriots play at night on that day, so there's
perfect.
no Patriots conflict this year.
That's excellent. A Patriots conflict poses a real challenge,
Yes.
perhaps worse than driving rain for attendance at events. And also Santa will be at the Reading Coop that day, right? Right across.
Yes.
So that's always a fun
And
way
generally
to-
speaking, I think shows up on a fire truck.
Yes.
If my memory is correct.
Yep. Shows up in the fire truck, goes in, you can take a picture with Santa, enjoy, and then walk about. We'll also have our trolley. We've had a trolley the last
Yes,
few
we
years,
have.
as well as a hayride, like a
Yes.
tractor hayride. So it's a great thing to look forward to. And again, it's on Sunday, November 29th. So that's probably our last big event within this year. But I know the Chamber is looking to create some new events in the new year. So one thing we're really excited about, and I'm excited about, is a new casino night.
Yes.
And that's going to be on Friday, April 8th at Moose Hall. And it's going to be awesome. We're working with a company that does casinos and brings in real Vegas tables and dealers and really makes it a fun evening for adults. You don't have to play the games. They coach you through it. It's not a high pressure kind of a stakes environment. It's a fun evening out for adults. And I think, you know, at the end, whoever has the most chips will win some great prizes. But again, it's a nice way to bring people into North Reading, showcase a great venue in the Moose Hall, and also help us kind of kickstart our season of all the different things we do within town.
It should be a lot of fun, and it is a way for the businesses to be noticed and to let folks know they're out there, which is always important. And North Reading, you know, unlike some of our neighborhoods like Burlington and Woburn, we don't have a tremendous commercial base. We're roughly about 13% commercial tax base, 87% residential. That's very skewed towards residential. So what little business we do have, we do want to showcase. We do want folks to buy local and support the local guys because, you know, they're your neighbors. They're the small mom and pop companies that are next to you that, you know, they're not getting rich. They're making a living and they really need the local support.
Agreed. And that's one thing the Chamber wants to do is give businesses a way to highlight their community involvement, make their presence known, and support the local things that we're working on. So there are going to be sponsorships both for the tree lighting that's in a couple weeks as well as the casino night. But while we're on the topic of businesses, another thing we can talk about that's quite timely is that the selectmen are having their annual tax classification meeting.
Yes.
And it's coming up on Monday, November 16th. So I want to encourage all North Reading businesses just to make note of that date, try to come out to Town Hall and advocate for a warm, welcoming business climate where, especially with a small commercial base, the numbers really don't work for a split tax rate. It really would place an undue burden on a much smaller portion of our tax base. And but certainly we can't take it for granted. We need to get out and have a showing at the selectmen meeting and also talk with them about what we can do to help, you know, stimulate the economic climate in North Reading.
We do. It's a very difficult situation. It's, you know, tax dollars are hard to come by, and everything costs money, and every year the town's budget goes up. The thing about a split commercial tax rate, where what that is for folks listening at home that don't know what that is, where commercial tax rates would be higher than residential. That may work in a town like Burlington or Woburn where you have a 25-30% commercial tax rate. It really wouldn't work in a town like North Reading where we have a small, you know, roughly 13% commercial tax base. It would put a burden on small businesses, and what people don't realize is even if you have somebody who owns a large business or a large commercial parcel, and there might be 3 or 4 units of small people in there, they generally have triple net leases where that rent increase vis-a-vis to the tax increase is going to be passed on to the little guy. So it is very difficult. A lot of our retail business owners had a very difficult winter given the weather and the fact that business was down. And really just now is not the time to be saddling them with a higher tax bill at this time. It wouldn't make sense for a lot of reasons.
Absolutely. And one thing that I learned in just finding out about the issues and understanding what a split tax rate means is that it's really no gain to the town in terms of it's revenue neutral.
Yes.
It doesn't raise more money. It doesn't bring more money into the town. It's just shifting who's paying that tax bill. So I think that's important to note because we all would love to have lower taxes, but it's not like the town's going to suddenly have this big windfall of funds to help, you know, fund pensions or other things that are just growing in cost.
And what makes the town desirable for new business to come in is the tax rate. And the more new business we come in, the more buildings that are built, the more, you know, older dilapidated buildings on Route 28 that are turned into nicer buildings, the higher the tax base is because they'll come in at a higher tax rate. That's how we generate revenue to the town. I mean, the other issue is what are we going to do with the J.T. Berry parcel? That's going to be going into town's hands, I understand, real soon. And that would be an opportunity for the town to really increase their commercial tax base as well. So we have a lot of options, a lot of revenues. We're at a great time at the town's crossroads here where we can take different approaches. I just think a split tax rate at this point would be the wrong approach. And, hopefully the selectmen see it the same way.
I agree. I know there's a lot of new things that are being explored in town that the chamber is also involved in. I know we work closely with Danielle McKnight of the Planning Committee, or the planning director for the town, and she has involved us in Massachusetts Area Planning Commission process, which is MAPC for short, and they're doing some studies about Route 28 and Main Street and perhaps looking at the traffic flow to find out if there is an area of the town or of Route 28, perhaps where 62 intersects at both ends, where traffic could be slowed down.
Sort of between Kitty's and Walgreens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Where traffic might be reduced down to, one lane in each direction, and look at whether the town could support that and whether some of the other streets could handle that through traffic that Route 28 gets. Because I think it would be very desirable, and something that a lot of people ask me about is, would we ever have a town center and where would it go? And it seems like a daunting project, but through this study, you can come up with a lot of really creative ways to look at it, whether it's through rotaries or roundabouts or streetscaping, just to make it more pedestrian friendly and have a designated retail zone. Because when you think about it, Stoneham has it, Reading has it. Reading only did it in the last 10, 11 years.
Yes.
Andover. So it's exciting to be a part of that and hear about the process that they're going through. And the town's gotten a couple of nice grants to really make some nice improvements and be thoughtful about how they're using their resources to make it even, more attractive to families and have a place where people can sort of, walk and stroll and enjoy.
And that's all on the same road. It's Route 28. And it's a small piece of the town where they would be starting, but eventually we would try to expand that out further and further up Route 28 in both directions. And, the other thing that's being kicked around right now, that one of the two main issues with the town is the water supply. Whether the town's going to join in with the NWRA or not. That's always been an issue. We've been, as a town, in negotiations with Andover for years for water, and it's a very difficult. The selectmen are doing the best they can with that issue. It's very difficult, and also the fact that we don't have a sewer system. I mean, most towns that do have a sewer system, you can build a lot higher. If it's possible someday to maybe from Concord Street, from the highway up to where Bobcat is, to make that a sewer area, tie into Wilmington somehow, and make that area where you can build up. You can create more office space, and not. It wouldn't affect any residential areas where for traffic-wise, because everything would flow out to 93 from there. Also, this may be a pipe dream, but it'd be nice to be able to run the sewer up and down 28 at some point. So you could build on 28 like other towns can, that we just can't because of the size of the building is certainly impacted by the fact that we have septic. And that's something long-term that as a town we have to invest in and think about and determine what's best for the commercial tax base, which will generate more revenue for the town.
Right, absolutely. It's definitely a big infrastructure change, but I agree. I think there's already some nice identified industrial zones, so even small steps into that area would be great, because then you'd just be more attractive to bigger buildings or additional office space, industrial, manufacturing, retail, all of that.
Correct.
So, and it's already, like as you said, it's good highway access as well. So
yes.
And it's not right, zoned right for residential.
One of the
homes,
reasons
so.
my office is in Park Place condominiums, sort of right across from the Lobster Claw, and we chose that space because it's a straight shot to the highway. You can get people in off 93 very easily, and that's why we located there.
Well, that's one of the nice advantages about North Reading, is that you are great location. You're close to many things. You've got good highway access. You've got, ponds right in town, so that's kind of unique and fun. And Ipswich River Park is like the jewel of the town, with so many great family activities. And I know between the barbecues in the summer with the rec department and using it really all year round for sports. And I myself even rented out the street hockey court one fine cold day for one of my kids' birthday parties. It's just, you could spend the whole day there. It's just perfect.
It's a great asset to the community. And the thing about green space is once you lose it, you never get it back. So to preserve it, much like Hillview, once you to preserve something like that, it's, once you lose it, it doesn't come back.
Right, right, and it's just really nice to enjoy, and the little paved paths make it family friendly,
Yes.
whether it's little ones and strollers
I
or
walk the
bikes
dog
and
through there. My
scooters.
wife does very often. Yes.
Nice, yeah, it's a lot of great assets to the town, and I agree. I think if we can, wrap our hands around some of the other challenges and attract new businesses. I know along those lines, the town recently created an Economic Development Committee, or EDC. So there's a lot of people looking at these issues, and it's an exciting time for North Reading, because I think there's a lot of good things on the horizon, a lot of smart people looking at all the different ways the town could go with the new town administrator and such. So
We don't want to lose our character as a residential community.
Right.
However, we do have, as you, I think, aptly mentioned a few minutes ago, certain commercial zones that we have now. We would like to expand. We're not trying to expand into residential areas, but spruce up the areas that we do have that are commercial. Because I live here and I work here, but 28 could use a facelift, and it would be nice to spruce up some of those buildings that maybe don't look as good and put something nicer in. And some of the new construction that you've had on 28 in the last couple of years have definitely improved the architecture on that road, and I think that's a step in the right direction.
Andrew, as someone who practices law in the area of real estate, what have you been seeing in the town of recent years?
I've been seeing a lot of young couples come in, and I see a lot of folks that either were in the small house in some of the more urban towns around us, maybe a little closer to Boston, that wanted a better quality of life, but yet have a reasonable commute into Boston. I see a lot of folks with kids. I see a lot of folks from out of town. You have to realize we're 20, 25 minutes from Boston on a good day, and generally speaking, you get land in North Reading that you don't get in other towns. I remember when we first moved here, we have about an acre of land. I felt like I was a farmer.
Yeah.
I remember I always joke the first time we took the kids trick-or-treating when we first moved to town, I think we walked like 4 or 5 houses and we had walked a half mile, and it was like, wow. So I think that's great for kids. You're spaced out, you have good parkland. Ipswich River Park really draws a lot of people to the town. We live pretty close to the park, and it's always mobbed on a nice Saturday. You take a nice, especially you get a winter day where you get that occasional 45, 50-degree winter day. Everyone's out there, and it's nice. You see families with kids, and there's people flying kites, playing football, throwing frisbees, walking their dogs, little kids on the playgrounds. You don't have parks like that. You have the Kid Spot, which is very popular for toddlers, which is kind of kitty corner from Ipswich River. And we do see people that are brought by the schools. I think the best investment this town made in the last number of years was the new schools, because it has certainly increased property values and the desirability of the town. And our school size. I mean, our graduating class is nowhere near what a lot of the neighboring towns are. I believe Reading is close to 400 people, 400 kids per year. We're less than half of that. So some people like having a smaller district in a smaller town, and those are the types of people I see moving, a lot of young professionals. And I think, but we have to be cautious of the people that have been here for a long time, and in their tax bills as well, in the sense that you have people that have been here for a long time, and maybe they're on a fixed income, and their number one bill they have is their real estate tax bill. So we don't want to price people that have been here out of that town, but we want to bring new people in. And it's a balancing act. We have to make sure we walk that tightrope, and make sure that we have people that want to come in, but yet not price out the people that have been here for 40 years.
Excellent. That's a good point. In the vein of our program, Shop Local, I also wanted to mention there's a winter shopping festival that's happening up at American Tavern. I'll have to double check the date, but I know all the information would be up on our website, which is our www.reading for Reading North Reading Chamber.com. And that's a nice way to bring local businesses together, as well as get people out and showcase some of the great stores and restaurants and retailers just within North Reading, and really bring the community together. Another thing that I should mention is that I believe the North Reading Farmers Market is starting soon, if not already started, at Moose Hall, which is a nice way for people to come out and just get really fresh ingredients, as well as a lot of other.
Yeah, it's last year it was called the Winter's Farmers Market.
The Winter's Farmers Market.
They had it was once every few weeks. It wasn't every week, but it was often enough where the local vendors, a lot of bakers. I mean, there wasn't any fresh produce that time of the year, but a lot of the bakers and different crafts, arts and crafts types of folks would come up, and they got a chance to sell their items to the public. And the Moose Hall is a very good location for that, because there's plenty of parking, and the hall inside is big enough where it can support enough vendors, enough tables, and it was pretty successful last year.
So also, Andrew, I'm excited because you're the president-elect for the Chamber of Commerce. So you're going to be joining in January officially to be the director of the chamber. Oh my God, no, the president.
Yes.
I'm wrong.
Thank you for that. I've been on the board of directors for some time now, and we got a great group, and we always try to get local folks in Reading and North Reading to join the board. But you're too kind. You're the executive director, and I think you should take a moment to tell the folks at home what the chamber does and give yourself a plug there.
Oh, well, thank you. It's nice because we're two town chambers, so we're really very focused on what's happening locally within both towns. I think one of the best things we can do for the chamber is really keep beating the drum on the shop local bandwagon. I know that it's very easy to do your shopping online, and with free shipping in 2 days, it's very compelling. But we do have to be sure that we all get out of our house and, coming out to a nice restaurant, having a meal as a family, or buying a gift at a small boutique like Brisanti in town. It's a totally different experience, and I think it's important that we make a concerted effort, certainly going into the retail season of November into December with the holidays and such, that we all make a really concerted effort to shop local, to keep the storefronts alive. Because I know, living locally also, when I drive by a building that's been closed for some time and the store has gone out for whatever reason, it just adds a whole different level. And it's a bummer when stores close. So I always want to remind people that it's very important that we support our local economy by getting out and doing our holiday shopping, whether it's for coaches, teachers. You can get it all done at a local store and
if
still.
If I may speak to that, a lot of our
course.
local retailers, they make their money in what's called OND, October, November, December. They might make 50% of their revenue in those 3 months. So it's very important for them during the holiday, Christmas season to that's where they make a living.
Exactly.
And they need the local folks to come out and support them.
I agree. And if you go to a place again like Brisanti, I remember I went and I got the nurses' gifts, all the coaches' gifts, and everything was all wrapped, ready to go in a nice little bag, and I was ready. It makes it easier, and that's the kind of local touch that a small store like that can do versus it arriving in a big cardboard box at your house.
Right.
So thank you for pointing that out about just the shopping local. It's important. We also do a lot within the community of business owners. We have everyone from people who are consultants at their house to big corporations like Comcast of North Reading.
Yes.
They are all members, and we have different educational events throughout the year. We have one just next week on November 12th regarding Constant Contact, which is the go-to marketing tool for e-marketing for small business. We do all sorts of networking events. Since I started, we created a new Women in Business series, and we do it quarterly with a couple other regional chambers. We partner with Melrose, Linfield, Wakefield, and Stoneham. So we had it last night, and it was great. We had over 65 women, and we had someone from My Sister's Closet, which is a Stoneham high-end consignment store. She talked about different fashion trends, but also the great deals you can get at consignment. And we had a $5 raffle for a Michael Kors bag that retails currently in the store for $999.
Wow.
And someone won it for $5 last night. But it was also fun. People got together, they had some refreshments and food. And then after the presentation, about 5 women took the clothes off the mannequin, went to the ladies' room inside the restaurant and bought the items right there. She left with mannequins that were undressed because she got rid of all her merchandise. And I thought, this is great, because when people hear consignment, sometimes they think someone's throwaways, but really this is all fancy designer stuff that someone got this beautiful ornate top they'd wear for the holidays for $28, less than you'd pay for a shirt at Marshall's probably.
That's the thing about the Chamber of Commerce, like you just mentioned, that you have large corporations, you have one-person shops.
Right.
And we try to do things for everybody. We do things that represent small business before town boards. We do things that would benefit big business. We try to, look out for everybody, look out for the business environment. We do, it sounds a little hokey, but it's the old rising tide floats all the boats. If business is good, we're all going to do well. If the economy's bad and people aren't shopping local, we're all going to do badly. So we're all in the same boat together, and it's important that as a business community, we do those little things. And there's a lot of things I want to point out the Chamber does for the community that people may not even know, such as Christmas lights in Reading and North Reading. Different areas of town that we're responsible for the flower box or the floral displays.
Yep, right in front of Town Hall in North Reading.
For Town Hall in North Reading,
sites.
and I know in Reading we have one as well. So it's, for those two towns, it's important that we show that we're out there for the community. And then different things we're looking at doing in the future too is, like I said, with the Town Day we mentioned, but possibly putting a 5K race out for people, and you try to do different things for different people for different interests. Like you have a
Right.
casino night, you might have something that involves fitness. You might have something that involves shopping. Everybody likes to eat. We might do a food truck festival at some point with the town day. So there's all different options we have out there, and we're trying to get an idea what the town's looking for and try to support the town's needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have quite a bit of on the calendar. I know that we have every month we do a networking event. It's like $10 to come as a member and only a little bit more for a non-member. People can always try an event out or two just to see what we're all about. I'd say it's definitely a growing group. We have new business owners joining every single month of the year. And I think a lot of people just want to expand their network and also expand their brand. I mean,
Yes.
when they're in business, they're doing it and they want to be successful, and we want to support them in their endeavors. So when people start with the chamber, we always send out like a welcome to the chamber email blast that goes out in our newsletter. It goes to 2,000 business contacts and entrepreneurs and people just regionally, well beyond Reading and North Reading. And I know we get a really great response rate from those where we highlight the new member, a little blurb about what their business is, but also their email and phone. And I know I've gotten great feedback on people who are photographers or who are designers, and they've gotten jobs right out of that one
Yes.
email blast. So, you know, for very short money, you can get a lot of advertising and really get out there and expand your circle of just contacts and business associates. And everyone's very friendly, so certainly you can easily walk into one of our meetings and not feel intimidated, because usually they are on the smaller side, maybe 20 to 40 or 50 people cycling through, and many people do come to our events alone. They stop by after work. It's very it's a low pressure environment with a lot of very friendly people, and often when I leave the events at 8:30 or 9, people are still there chatting and enjoying, and you know, it's a really fun social
It's really
group.
a tool to give our local restaurants in both North Reading and Reading an opportunity to showcase themselves, because oftentimes these events are held at restaurants.
Yes.
And they'll put out hors d'oeuvres and they'll have drinks and such, and people get in there and say, wow, this place is pretty good, I want to try it out. And I'm sure our restaurant friends have gotten a lot of work out of hosting these events as well in the past.
Absolutely. Another thing that I'll mention is we have a plan to do a quarterly lunch series called First Fridays. And the one that's coming up in January is actually going to be with Mike Gilberto, the town administrator.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure it's Friday, November 8th. No, January 8th, excuse me. And it's going to be at the Horseshoe, and we're going to call it Barbecue in the Winter, because at that point we're going to all want a little taste of summer.
Right.
And he'll come along with some people from his team at Town Hall just to talk to residents and business owners about what's going on in town. I'm sure he'll have an update on JT Berry, but also it's a way for business owners in the community to sit down and really meet the people who make the decisions that affect their day-to-day lives. So whether it's, you know, snow removal or what's happening in the schools or what's the latest on JT Berry and all of the different things that are going on in the town, it'll be a nice way for people to talk firsthand with him.
Yeah, and it gives the people, decision-making people in the town, some feedback on what the business community is looking for too.
Exactly.
And I know they appreciate that as well. So
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of great things happening, and we're looking forward to, you know, hearing back from people and seeing what our membership wants as well. We do surveys and are always asking people what they might want to do, and it turns out, you know, our after hours are very popular. We do educational
if you add food
events.
and alcohol, we generally get a better turnout.
Yeah, that's true. Breakfast meetings are a little bit more challenging. People like to come out after
And
work.
you
we
should
found.
mention our annual meeting too.
Yes, our annual meeting is Thursday, January 28th, and it will be at Teresa's Prime in North Reading. And the speaker is Dennis Clark, who's the president and CEO of Cummings Properties.
Nice.
So they're a big business. I know that they...
It's open to the public.
It's open to the public. It'll be a breakfast meeting. It's at 7:30 in the morning before work. It always has been. And we check people in at 7:30. The program really probably starts in earnest around 8. But Dennis is a great speaker. He knows a lot about just local business, but we'll also talk about like taking something small and how you can slowly expand on it and grow it, and how you really attract and maintain great people and great staff. And I think there'll be a lot of interesting tidbits to take away, no matter whether
Sounds
you're
great.
into property or real estate. I think that it'll just be interesting to hear about how the Cummings family has built this huge business, and all that they do to give back to the community is also really heartwarming, and it's great to hear about. So it should be another nice North Reading event at the end of January.
Will be.
Great. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.